Welcome everybody. Today we're going to talk about my most recent video where I went on a flotilla, which is a fleet of boats, to the edge of the Cuban territorial waters. It was the latest effort by Cuban Americans who wanted to show their solidarity to the people in Cuba who are out on the streets fighting for freedom, and they wanted to make their message known and show them that they're with them even though they're in an entirely different country. You know, they stand with them. And they did it through the use of fireworks and flares. So this video is going to be me telling my personal story of me on the boat from when we left Miami, stopped in Key West, and headed over to just about 15 miles off of Cuba. It was a long journey. I spent nearly 24 hours on the water. I transferred between 3 different boats. One boat had engine problems. It was a mess, but everything clicked in the end, and I was fortunate to have had a positive and good outcome. So before we start the actual day of, we have to take it back to just a day prior. Me and YouTuber Oscar Alejandro were trying tirelessly to find a spot on a boat. We didn't know who had a boat, who was going. We just set our minds to, okay, we have to get on a boat. And so we sent countless messages to Ostani Veloz, who's the organizer of this event, and he didn't get back to us. So we said, all right, we couldn't accomplish that part, so how about we go to a meetup that he was doing to collect firework donations for the flotilla. So we met him at a marina, we introduced ourselves, and we told him, this is what we're here to do, can you get us on a boat? At the end of that night, I left feeling better, but not 100% confident that I would be on a boat. All right, bottom line is, we don't know if we're going yet, and we won't know until tomorrow morning. Unfortunately, that's when all the boats are meeting up, and we're gonna have to literally ask somebody, can we get on a boat? And it's just a matter of whether they have a spot and if they're willing to bring 2 strangers onto a boat all the way out in this long journey. So fingers are crossed that we can do it. So our next thing to accomplish was to show up the day of, this is cutting it close, the day of, and find a boat in person before they take off. So that's where the video begins, which is me in Bayside before the sun even gets up. I'm trying to be one of the first people there, so if there's any other camera people that want to get on a boat, I want to make sure that I'm the first person that they see, that they meet, and they know that my goal is to get on a boat and document the entire journey. I don't want anyone else to get in between that. So showed up like 5 or 5:30, 6 in the morning, and the press was already there. But the good thing is the press, most of them, if not all of them, were not given clearance to get on a boat. It's a huge liability for the companies, so they couldn't go. So fortunate for me, I'm an independent journalist. Oscar Alejandro is a YouTuber. He doesn't have a boss above him to tell him you can't get on the boat, and so we saw that as an opportunity. So in the video you'll see us going boat to boat, you know, showing how the media is interacting with the boaters, the owners. You know, they're getting interviewed, they're telling their side of the story, why they are participating, and behind the scenes I am trying my hardest to try to analyze the situation and see which boater looks like they have enough space or is willing to accommodate for 2 people. In the end, we ended up meeting this guy who is a veteran. He ended up being the first boat we got on, but it was not easy. And literally cutting it close to where they were about to set sail, he told us some story about how he's a veteran and Coast Guard or police know that that's his boat. He's not allowed to have more than 1 person on the boat, so he couldn't take us. This was literally as the other boats were already taking off, and his boat was, you know, on, ready to go. And Oscar started pleading with him, telling him, look, just get us to Key West and we'll figure out the rest. And so he said, come on. And then the next shots you see is us taking off on his boat. We start going through the upper keys. Everything is smooth. Coast Guard is beside us, and we are just cruising and going really fast through the waters. We have the Coast Guard support. Everything's going fine until we get past Key Largo. That's when you see the boat having engine troubles. The engine troubles, they start giving off these like constant beeping sounds. They would go off for a few seconds and then they would go away. And I'm thinking, okay, no one's really paying any attention to this. So I just sit there with my camera recording everything. Then the beeping starts again. It stops. Starts again. And then eventually after like 20 minutes of it going off and on, it beeps, but like constantly. And then we stop moving. And I'm just like, shit, if this ends here after everything and we have to turn back, not even getting into like the middle or lower keys, I don't know, it would have just been an epic fail. And fortunately the guy radioed Ostani Veloz, the organizer, his boat to turn around. They had kept going. They didn't even realize that we stopped. They turned around, came back, and Ostani said, we would take you, but once we get past the Cuban waters and we're done with the day, he's gonna head over to Dry Tortugas to go fishing and stay the night over there. So we almost, you know, didn't get on that boat, but we just persisted and told them, look, Key West, same thing we told the guy, Key West, let us stay there and we'll figure out the rest. We'll figure out which boat we'll get on. We just need to accomplish this mission. So he said, okay. Then you see in the video, we're climbing onto the boat, and from there, the guy with the messed up motor, I don't know what ended up happening to him. Obviously, he didn't continue with all of us. So I just want to say, if he's watching this video, thank you so much for taking a chance on us and letting us stay on your boat. So now we're on the second boat going through the Keys. It's a long journey. I've never been in the water that long, and from Miami to Key West, a lot of people I imagine from Miami do that journey, but I've never done it. So it was like 3 or 4 hours. I wasn't feeling too seasick, but I was starting to feel a little woozy, but the waters were pretty calm. It's just me. So eventually we end up getting to Key West. I think it's already noon or 1 p.m. or so. We're in Key West and we stop at this marina where they start refueling the boats, and I have my chance to get off the boat and recover. The journey took forever, and the seas were kind of calm, so thankful for that. I did get a little seasick, so right now we're just waiting for all the boats to fuel up and then head over to a point where we're all gonna meet. Hopefully more boaters, and then spend a couple hours and then going to the edge of the international waters off of Cuba. So we stay there. The media starts coming because they drove from Miami to Key West to meet us there. They knew we would end up being there, and they started doing interviews. I noticed that one of the workers from the fueling area was getting upset because she told one camera guy, you guys are not allowed to interview.
How'd you guys get in the gate? We were over there. I just wanted to come see if we're going to get permission. He said, no, I got my camera in. I'm not even recording. It's Channel 7. I'm not recording.
But then a swarm of cameras came and they started doing it anyway. Other than that, I'm glad we stopped there. I was able to catch my breath and recover. But after that, we went around to a different marina where the Coast Guard would do safety inspections for the boats that haven't done it yet. And then from there, we would rest, have lunch, all that stuff. But unfortunately, when we got there, one of the owners or someone in charge told us we're not allowed to stop there unless we have business there. I don't know exactly what he said, but we could not stay there. So we showed up. They did more interviews with the press from their boats. We never got off, but that was the time that we were going to transition from being in Key West to finally embarking on a journey to Cuba. And mind you, this is where we told the 2 boats to leave us and we'll figure it out. So what we did was we started asking Ostani questions like, yo, how do we get on a boat that is gonna, you know, come back at least to the Keys? It doesn't have to be to Miami. And so he found the boat that just showed up, and he was able to transfer us to that boat. And that was the third boat was the one we stayed on for the entire journey. I'm talking through the evening, the night, into the morning, through sunrise of the next day. We stayed on that third boat. So those guys were really cool. This is where the journey really begins. As I said, we weren't able to dock, so I could not have my lunch. I could not have any rest. I had been on the water at this point since Miami, with the exception of being on that little marina that they refueled in for a few minutes. So I've been on the water for hours, and I thought I would have a long break, but no. Immediately after we took off, slowly, we had the Coast Guard around us, and that's when the Coast Guard stopped all the boats and explained to them.
We're not here to stop you guys or anything, but just for your aware, if you guys are heading to Cuba, this is what to expect. Also getting set up, if you guys head to Cuba, you guys are flying the Cuban flag. Know that the Cuban authorities, the Cuban Navy or their Coast Guard, you are subject to their authority.
So they enter their territorial sea and they claim more than what we recognize. We only recognize 12 nautical miles outside as their territorial sea. Most countries will claim more. We only recognize 12. So if you're inside that zone, because I know your original itinerary was saying that you're going to be 3 nautical miles out of their territorial seas, they might claim more. So if you're flying the flag, you are basically claiming or assimilating to that nationality.
The Cuban flags, which were flying on all the boats, obviously, they had to be brought down, or I should say they suggested they be brought down. They didn't order us to do it. And then after that, we just took off. As we started leaving Key West, I was starting, to look through my phone, look through social media, and I found a tweet from a Cuban official. He had tweeted, "We have learned that there will be a flotilla of naval resources from the U.S. to the area near the border of Cuba's maritime territory. I warn the U.S. government to take serious action to avoid incidents that do not suit anyone." This is from Bruno Rodriguez, a representative of the Cuban government. So having read that about a warning against the flotilla, which I was currently a part of, my nerves started going through the roof. This is where it goes from me being, oh, this is very nice, through the keys, until when we finally start heading to Cuba. That's when, especially after reading that tweet, I started getting nervous. I don't typically get nervous when I do things like this because, you know, I put myself in this situation. It's not like I was forced into it. So, you know, hey, this is what you signed up for. This is what you expected. But at this point, I was feeling pretty nervous, and no one else really looked very nervous, at least at the surface. Later on, I found out that they were all nervous. But there we were going, and at the 40-mile mark, which is 20 miles before we were expected to stop, we stopped for a coffee break. Someone brought out the coffee machine, made Cuban coffee for all of us.
Coladita para mi hermano ahí. Eso. Una tercera. ¿Quieres? Joel, ¿quieres café?
Sí, sí.
Aquí está, mira. Café para Joel. Mira,
And they started passing it out. There was a woman on another boat who was seasick, and so she was constantly throwing up. At that point, I was very seasick. I did not throw up at all, thankfully, but they had this big beanbag chair that if they're watching this, they know. I was glued to that beanbag chair the entire time. So you'll see my video. It's really from the back of the boat, and I never, or at least for the coffee part, I went to the front. You know, I toughed it out. But for the majority of the boat, I'm talking through the fireworks, through us getting there, coming back, it was me filming from the back of the boat because I felt so dizzy, and I felt like if I were to get up, I would throw up. And at this point, I had already taken 3 pills of Dramamine that's supposed to help with motion sickness, but it did not. The trick that people say to do is to look at the horizon and you won't get dizzy. I'm with my camera, I'm trying to film things. I don't have time to just stare at the horizon. I found it helpful that I would look at the sky because the sky is not really moving, especially with no clouds. You can't tell that you're moving, and closing my eyes, stuff like that helped. But like I said, at this point, I'm seasick, someone else is seasick and throwing up on a different boat, and we're all just giving out coffee, having a good time, and then we proceed. We start moving closer. We're gonna head to the 20-mile mark and stop. As we approach, keep in mind, we're looking in the distance to Cuba. You still can't see Cuba from that distance, but we're looking in the direction of it, and we see a big ship, a warship, and it looks this small in the horizon. And keep in mind, we're looking towards Cuba, so we don't expect there to be any of Coast Guard or anyone from the US that far in that direction. So we start questioning, hey, is this a Cuban warship? What do we do? As we were asking these questions, we are still going really fast in that direction, and I'm just like, I don't know. I started making a video talking about, oh, I hope that I'll play it right now.
Hey, I'm hoping the boat is there to create a line that we're not supposed to cross, and not like to retaliate or something. I don't know. Coast Guard is somewhere back there, and they're really far. The Cuban boat is getting closer, and well, we're getting closer, and it's starting to get easier to see the boat. So I'm a little concerned about that.
So yeah, I was just hoping if it's a Cuban ship that they're just there to set the boundary of the line, you know, we cannot cross, just to help us visually know where the limit is. As we got closer, we realized it was the US Coast Guard, and kind of calmed me down. I was still on edge, but just the presence of the Coast Guard was very calming, and seeing their cutter out there, and eventually we saw a big aircraft from the Coast Guard just circling constantly. At this point, the sun is starting to set, and we see the plane coming back and forth, and then the ship just there parked out to the side. It's still pretty far, but we can see visually that it is a Coast Guard ship. And so we stop at the 20-mile mark, and this is where we are expected to throw the fireworks and the flares, and hopefully Cuba can see us. The sun is still setting, so it's not completely dark, and we cannot see Cuba from this point. So over the radio, Ostani says he got permission from the Coast Guard to head over to about 15 or 16 miles off of Cuba, meaning we are able to proceed about 4 or 5 miles from where we currently are and get even closer to Cuba. I started thinking, well, we have Coast Guard with us. What is 4 more miles gonna hurt? I mean, we're still in international waters as recognized by the United States. But what the Coast Guard people told us at Key West kept replaying in my mind, like, even though we're international waters, Cuba doesn't know or care about that distance. They can say we are in their territory and do God knows what. So we make it to our final destination, just 15 miles off Havana, Cuba, and we still cannot see the land. But as soon as the sun starts setting even more, it's below the horizon, it's starting to get dark. The moon is, you know, popping out and everything. As it gets really dark, you can start to see the lights of Cuba. And at that point, I was like, words can't describe. It left an impression on me. You know, I had been to Cuba before in 2003. I have family currently there in Havana, Cuba, so it was just so amazing to see the lights from that distance and know that my family's there. People are fighting for their freedom over there, and it was just a surreal experience seeing the lights of Cuba. So all of us admired it, and all of us recorded the lights, people on their phones, me and Oscar with our cameras. You know, the seasickness didn't bother me anymore at this point because it was just like, wow, we are here, we are seeing it with our eyes. People said that we couldn't do this and we wouldn't make it this far. Our boats would not make it. We would get attacked. So many people wished so many bad things on social media, and I read the comments a little bit after I came back. People were just like, I hope you guys sink. I hope you guys get attacked. I hope you guys get bombed. And, you know, obviously that did not happen, thankfully. We did have the Coast Guard there supporting. So, yeah, we saw the lights. We all took it all in. And then we started shooting they started shooting the fireworks and the flares. The flares went up first, and then eventually the fireworks, and then the fireworks and the flares simultaneously. And everybody at this point was just like, okay, we're doing this. We don't have signal, but we hope that everybody in Havana can see this. We hope they're able to witness what the message we're trying to send them, which is that, you know, us in South Florida, Cuban American community, we are with them. Keep on fighting. That's the general message of the flotilla. And yeah, so the fireworks went on for about half an hour, 40 minutes, and we started heading back. If you think the obstacles ended there and it was smooth sailing back, you're wrong. Well, at least for my boat. One of the boats that came with us that was returning. Actually, before I talk about our return journey, I will mention a mysterious boat that popped up out of nowhere with our group. A boat popped up just after sunset. You know, this was I think prior to or at the start of the fireworks, and they were like in Spanish. They were talking about how we're late, but we're here. And you know, Oscar was recording. He has a great video of it on his channel.
Llegó esta embarcación. Excelente, brother. Están llegando, se están incorporando ahorita, brother. Se están incorporando ahorita. Están llegando ahorita. Ahora un momentico ya. Casi nos matamos para arriba de Cuba. Excelente, bienvenidos. Acá llegará un bote nuevo a estas. Bueno, somos los que somos.
I'll link it down below. He recorded them, you know, he greeted them, you know. At the moment, we didn't think anything of it. I didn't think anything of it. I mean, I did not record the boat because I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, oh, this is just one of us. So they showed up, you know, said, we're late, but at least we're here. They got greeted. 5 or 10 minutes later, they left. That short encounter raised suspicion amongst people in the flotilla. And we discussed it at a reunion we had yesterday with everybody who participated. And we all tried to get to the bottom of it and see, was this a boat that was Cuban government infiltrating the flotilla to see whether we are a threat or if we're just unarmed people trying to, you know, send the message. Mind you, when we were there, Cuban police was on the coastline of Havana, clearing out the streets, telling everybody to get home, shutting down the coastal line, which is called El Malecon. They were telling everybody to go inside your house. They obviously did not want the people to see the fireworks and not get inspired, motivated, or whatever. But there is video of the fireworks from the distance, and it was shared all over Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, so they did see it. So now we're thinking, are these people Cuban government who just sent a boat to see what we're up to and pretend like they're one of us? Because it was very weird that they stayed there for 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, if you came from Florida with us, or maybe you were trailing behind and we couldn't see you. If you make that 3-4 hour journey, you would think they would be there for more than 5 or 10 minutes. Now, I'm not trying to start any conspiracy theories. I'm going off of what I was thinking at the moment. I was like, it's odd that 5 or 10 minutes they leave. Such a waste of gas. So, you know, have what you want with that information. The FO number for the boat is on his video. You can see the sticker, the number. Someone run it and let me know when to come back to. So as we go back, like I said, someone ran out of fuel and we kept going. We noticed it after they radioed it in. We turned around, we saw that they were way back there, and so we stopped because we were not running out of fuel, but we were good at the level we were with fuel to make it back to Key West. If we turned around to go and help them, you know, give them the spare tanks that we have or whatever, then that would be cutting it close for us. So we stayed there on the water, literally bobbing back and forth. I was on the beanbag chair, like. And we stayed there for like 45 minutes to an hour. It's part of the reason why we made it back so late and people were worried sick, because we had no signal for like 12 hours and nobody knew anything of us. So eventually we get to Key West. And when I say eventually, probably 4 or 5 in the morning. We get there and we get to Key Largo. They bring the boat up onto the back of a pickup truck and they go to their home. And at this point, me and Oscar, since we've been winging it the whole day, we had no way back to Miami. So I start looking at Uber prices and it's like $300 to get from Key Largo to our destination. Fortunately, one of them from the boat, the owner, you know, stayed in Key Largo. The other one lived in Miami Lakes, which is not too far away from where we have to go. And he was able to bring us back. I won't even talk about the pickup truck running out of gas because there was a power outage in the Keys and none of the pumps were working. So many obstacles, like so many obstacles. But at the end, we took a short Uber ride from somewhere to our home and the day ended. I made it home like at 9 in the morning. Mind you, this is the next day. This is Saturday, 9 in the morning, and we started at like 5 in the morning Friday. So yeah, this is why I made this video. The video I posted was 9 minutes long and it doesn't really paint the entire picture. Yeah, that's the life of independent journalist, all of it out of my pocket. So if you guys want to support the channel, subscribe, thumbs up the video, hit that notification button, and if you want to take it a step further, I have some payment methods down below. If you want to contribute $5, $10, $1, whatever you have, I have CashApp, Venmo, and PayPal. So down below is how you support me, how you support these videos financially, because I don't earn any money from these videos. And if you don't have money to contribute, that's okay. Just hit subscribe and a thumbs up. It means a lot to me. I'm not new to these adventures, but this definitely ranks as the most dangerous thing I've ever done. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the storytelling with the visuals. I did get video of a lot of things, so I was able to overlay it and better tell my story. But this is the story that I tell everybody that asks me, how was it? So I just wanted to put it out there for everybody else that was paying attention to this. And yeah, hopefully this gave you behind the scenes as to how I felt. Thank you so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram, officialjoelf, Twitter, officialjoelf, where I constantly update everything. So throughout that journey, I was posting on my story. So my next journey, don't miss out. Thank you.